first place? Why does anyone stop? Well, when the answer came to me, it was hard to swallow, let alone spit out and say aloud, but I told her. We're all taught that life is tough. Life's a bitch. Life is hard.
Cliche, cliche, cliche.
But it's not. It's pretty easy, right? It's pretty easy to skate by and go through life, right? We wake up every day, most of us in the world, with a roof over our heads, a big comfy bed under our butts, fridge full of food. Most of us in the world, especially here in America, never have to worry about starvation or homelessness. We have friends and family that will help us out when those things come. Those are the things that made life dangerous 100 years ago. Now we complain if life isn't convenient. This isn't a statement on modern society. This is a statement about motivation. Life is easy. It's easy to skate by. It doesn't even sound that bad. It's called skating. Skating is fun. Who doesn't love skating? I love skating. Who doesn't love skating? German judges. That's who doesn't love skating. But you know what? This time the German judge is right. It's pretty easy to grow up, put your dreams aside, leave your passions behind, take a job that you don't even really mind. Raise some kids who will most likely be inspired to do the exact same thing. Go from point A to point B to point C until you end up at point Z, where you pass away and there's a line of people waiting to get up and tell everyone else who knew you what a good life you had. Nothing bad about that. Nothing wrong with that. But nothing great about it. Nothing inspiring about that. The awful truth is that life is easy. Living, truly living, chasing a dream and truly living is hard. Living is a bitch. Living is tough, especially when you switch it and you ask yourself, what am I dying to do? What is it that puts that fire in my heart? Answering that question isn't the end, though. That's really just the spark. Because once you get that fire burning, you need to feed it. You need to keep reminding yourself of putting new coals in there and reminding yourself every day about that goal. Because we've all taken up a hobby or a goal or a workout that we stop for just a couple days and then we never pick it up again. You need to constantly remind yourself that you're dying and that you're dying to do something. Because the minute you forget, life creeps right back in. And life is easy. I have a friend named Joke, as in tell me a joke. I think as a comedian we were destined to be friends.
Stabby says he'd run around.
She told me a story
chopping
about
heads
her
off.
dad talking to her about love when she was younger. And her dad told her, don't look at love as an object, not a thing, not something to obtain, not a noun. Look at it as a verb. It's something to do, something to act on, something to constantly give action to. I love that story. And I think a dream works exactly the same way. It's easy to look at a dream as something way off in the distance, something that might or might not be accomplished, a thing, an object, a goal, a thought that runs through our mind every now and then, a noun. But dream is also a verb. It has to be lived. It has to be done. It has to be furthered. It has to be acted upon. It needs to be chased. It's not just an idea or a result. To dream encompasses every step that it takes to get there. Now, I told you about my dream. I didn't reach my Letterman dream by my deadline.
We're coming
or
to
my
the close
extended
here.
deadline. Nope. It took me 5 years. 5 years of living. Years of living for that dream. And I was very lucky. My tumors during that time, they didn't grow. I stayed healthy. But I had that wake-up call, and I'm giving you all the same wake-up call.
No, you're not.
We're all dying. But if you're not chasing your dream, you're already dead. One more thing. 2 weeks ago, right here in San Jose at the CineQuest Film Festival, we premiered a movie about my journey. It was called Dying to Do Letterman. It ended up winning the Audience Award and the Jury Award for Best Documentary at the festival.
I didn't know that. I'm going to have to watch that.
Everyone who saw the movie and came up and talked to me told me that it inspired them to pick up a dream they had left behind or to chase another one harder. To keep that dream alive, we handed out these buttons. These promotional buttons that say, I'm dying too, and then they had a blank on it. And we would personalize them for everyone that came up. We would write their dream in there, what it was they were dying to do. Today I'm wearing one that says, I'm dying to make people happy I wasn't Steve Jobs. So thanks for going along. Well, my point is, one of the sad things about all these buttons when we were handing them out is a lot of people didn't know what they wanted us to write on the button. They had to think about it. After a couple minutes, I would let most of them off the hook and just put some short-term dream like, I'm dying to have a drink. I'm dying to eat pizza. I'm dying to get some more sex. Apparently, San Jose has a lot of horny, hungry people. But I told those people they had to go home and figure out what it was they were really dying to do. So I'm going to give you all a challenge here. Figure out the answer to that question. What are you dying to do?
What are you guys dying to do?
Don't stay forward any further in your life without answering that question. If you know the answer, fantastic. See me outside. I'll put it on a pin for you. But if you don't know the answer, don't go to sleep tonight without answering that question. Don't wait till someday to answer that question. There's nothing more important in your life than figuring that out. Because when you do figure it out, then when you go to sleep, you'll sleep like a kid again. Because then you'll be going to sleep not to dream, but with a dream. And waking up with one. Thank you, and sweet dreams.
Yeah, so, I thought it was an inspirational story. I hadn't heard the whole thing. First of all, let's not underestimate the power of I don't give a fuck. Are you guys in the chat room feeling me here? Let's not underestimate the power of I don't give a fuck. It's okay to not have a dream. And some people may wish they had a dream. They might envy the energy they see others behaving with under the influence of a dream and just not have it. And I've seen comments on these TED Talks saying, how do I find my inspiration? Well, maybe you won't. I wouldn't say that because that sounds pretty fucking pessimistic, but maybe you just won't. Maybe you're one of those very low energy people who just wants to get through. And I don't see why we have to find something wrong with that. Because now we've got people walking around thinking they're fucking something wrong with them just because they don't have a dream to do something amazing. Maybe they just, deep in their subconscious mind, believe that surviving is amazing. And that's enough for them. Or they don't need to do anything amazing. I can't tell you how many people I've come across in my life, especially after, I'd say, 30 years old and, hanging around people my age group and older, that I've come across people that just didn't give a fuck. It's like, I have to work, I have to make some money, I have to pay some bills, and I don't have any other thing I want to do. Why do I have to have another thing? And sometimes they would hide that, or sometimes they'd mask it, or sometimes they'd be like, I can remember my friend Mike, who wanted to go, he was in his 40s, he was seriously considering going back to South America to do some, I would call it CIA contractor work. It was exciting when he did it before. And, I was considering going with him. I mean, it was going to be a big adventure. And he didn't go. And he could have. All he had to do was make a phone call. And I knew the guy that basically got him into this stuff, and it was the real deal. I used to always think he was exaggerating his stories, and I found out that he was actually telling the truth on all his stories. He really did have, it was like, the crazy life of Walter Mitty or whatever. What do you really want to do? And if you don't, are you punishing yourself for that? See, here's what I'm trying to eliminate for you. You either want to do something and you're working toward that dream, or you really want to do something and you're just not feeling the energy or motivation to start reaching for it yet. That's okay. I mean, who's going to stop? Nobody's going to force you into motivation. But what I try to stop is people who have put it on their list and have no real intention of ever doing it. Because you're going to punish yourself over that. I didn't get that done yet. I didn't get that done yet. I could die any day. I didn't get that done yet. Why would you live like that? Just knock it off the list until you're ready to do it, and then put it back on the list and make it a goal. I don't know why people do that to themselves. And if you don't have a list, and you're just like, look, I fucking showed up on this planet, and I'll leave when I leave, I don't blame you. I don't see where this whole concept got invented that you have to accomplish something or do something major in your life. I don't know. Something should catch your interest, though. I mean, why stay here at all if you don't want to do anything? I mean, unless you're really getting joy, true joy, out of everyday little things that happen in your life, I don't understand why you would feel, unless it's just religious fear, that you're going to be thrown into hell if you jump off a cliff. I don't know. Let me see if I can follow what's going on in the chat here. I've got y'all thinking about some weird shit tonight, and I meant to do just that. And it's really all about people saying they're going to do something big. They want to do the big thing. They want to go try out an audition for a Hollywood movie, but they never do it. And why would they keep thinking they're going to do it when they're probably not going to do it? I don't know. I don't know why we try to fool ourselves. Stabby says he wakes up with a dream on. I think your dreams are stupid. Fuck your dreams. Fuck your couch. I think dreams are important, but not the kind of dreams this mullet was on about. Okay. I'm going to dream of being a balloon with these burrito farts. That would be quite interesting. I've had nightmares like that before. It's quite weird that the word dream can mean two such different things. Yeah, we're having a language snag here, RD. I agree. But instead of dreams, you could just call it goals. Big goals. Because little goals aren't considered dreams in America, but big goals are. Rise would be describing a flower as a band and describing an land. Okay, now, you guys that may still be thinking, what am I going to do in my life? I got this big thing I want to do. Why haven't I started? Why haven't I even thought about really beginning the sequence of events that would get me to that goal? A lot of times that's going to be fear. Sometimes it may be money. You may be waiting for the money to launch into it if it requires some money. You know, we talked about world traveling with backpacks and stuff. Z said he would quit his job because he could, because he was going to die and he wouldn't have to be saving for tomorrow. There's this page I have up here that's 10 questions to ask yourself before giving up on your dream. And I'm going to share it in the chat room first, because I think this is, as it applies to this show, I think it's worth looking at. I know it's worth looking at. But then I'm going to read over a couple of them, because I think it's really an interesting way to put it when it comes to, well, we know what your dream is. Now, why aren't you getting it done? And it's not poking you like, do this, do that, do this, do that, drink green shit, and you'll get the motivation. Here's the first one. Why did you want to pursue this goal to begin with? And has anything changed? You had a good reason for committing to this plan. Maybe you visualized a financially free future once you started this new business, or you realized you'd live longer and healthier if you lost 40 pounds. Odds are you still want those things as much as you did before. You just stopped believing you could have them because your attempts have yet to yield results. Now you have to ask yourself, if you push through the discomfort, it's really what this is about when it comes to motivation, getting through the uncomfortable zones. Will it be worth it in the end? I mean, this is a cost-benefit thing, really, at its purest form. Is what you put into it going to be at least equal to, if not greater than, what you get out of it, or vice versa, rather? Have you been operating with too much information? I'm guilty of this one, and it's actually having an effect on what I'm writing right now. So check this out. Imagine your dream, whatever it is. With so much information at our fingertips on the good old World Wide Web, it's easy to overwhelm yourself with more knowledge than you can apply. You read ebooks and blogs, participate in teleconferences and coaching sessions, and join user forums to talk about getting this thing done. One of two things happen as a result. You spend more time planning to act than acting, okay? Which means, like, maybe you're on a fact-finding thing, maybe you're trying to hone your skills so when you try this thing, you actually get it just right. And you can get caught up and stuck in that shit like quicksand. At some point, you have to decide on action if you want to get it done. Or you devote minimal energy to multiple plans instead of committing to one solid approach. I've been guilty of that too. Always got like 7 things on my plate, and I think that's to, A, give the appearance of being busy. It makes me feel better about myself if others are seeing me that way. But B, it's because there's a commitment issue there. If I just focus laser sharp on one thing, it's almost an uncomfortable level of commitment. Okay, I'm going to do this. And eventually that's what happens. I mean, I can remember the first time I jumped out of a plane. I'm sitting up there, and I was the first guy to jump out of this plane that we went up on. We were the last load to go up for the day. And I remember we had to go stand next to the door. Long story short, I looked outside and I looked at the little square fields. I can